Well, I guarantee this whole text me. Mr. Chair, we are evening. Welcome to the meeting for the budget and everything else. I call the meeting to order at 7:30. Should I just go ahead and do roll call?
Yes.
Okay. Renard Amaro, present. Madbin. No. Suzanne.
Here.
Helen. No. Julie. Patty.
Here.
Okay, we have phone.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, she wants to.
Meeting until she's watching. Because I don't think she's online. That's why I let John know.
It's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom. Is there a link?
I mean, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Here, I'm gonna check on my computer.
I'm looking at us right now on YouTube.
If you have a screenshot to that link, I'll shoot it to them. Because apparently, they can't get on. Whoever.
They just have to go to
Town of Miami Lakes.
youtube.com/Town of Miami Lakes.
Please go to youtube.com.
Yeah, I see us, we're live. So it's working.
I'm sorry, not Town of Miami.
Mhm. Yeah, youtube.com.
I'm surprised we didn't actually get that.
Yeah, I didn't send it yet. Please go.
It is youtube.com/@ the @ sign, Miami Lakes FL,
Miami Lakes.fl or Miami Lakes?
Miami Lakes FL.
Miami Lakes FL, one word?
Yes.
That will satisfy the citizens of.
It says one is watching. I guess that one is me.
You're gonna get a second, it's gonna be Hope, Esperanza Reynolds. I don't know if you know Hope.
I do.
Okay, I have a email subfolder just for her. We would call her Hope's Heralds. I got 5 emails from her today. God bless her.
Can you just confirm that? On,
That she's watching? Okay.
all right, I apologize. Please continue.
Okay, do we have any deferrals, additions, or deletions? To discuss? You know, what we do?
Also, you can let her know this is it's memorialized there. So even if she's not watching it live, she will be able to watch it in an hour. It's gonna be there.
But it's already on.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, public comments, we have no public here, do we have anything that was sent in?
No.
Okay. Old business, we're skipping over, going to the new business. 2024-2025 budget. You're on.
Hi, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Melissa Hernandez. I am the budget officer for the town. I've been here 5 years and I am also a summer fit. So with that, I'm gonna go get into the Miami Lakes Section 1 budget. I'm gonna explain to you, so we have several columns at the top. There's the actuals of what your district spent last year, all the revenue collected and all the expenses that you made. Then we have the adopted budget, which will be amended now in June and July. I mean, it was amended on first reading now in May, and it'll be amended now on second reading in June. Which from your actuals, from what I had supposed, you're getting an additional $1,534. Because when I am doing this budget, I don't know what your actuals are until, so I have to make a projection. So my projection was off by $1,534. So I'm placing that in the contingency line item. So then you'll see your amended budget, what the projection is right as of right now for this current year. And then what's in yellow is what is being proposed for next year. Now, in Miami Lakes Section 1, there is a total of 841 units. Sometime within the next few weeks, I will get the file from Miami-Dade County to confirm that it is still 841. I have not received that yet. What is being proposed to this board tonight is to remain, to have the assessment rate remain the same as the prior year, which is $340.98. Now, currently, the guard district that you have, you are paying them an hourly rate of $22.10. And then a time and a half for any holidays of $33.15. So that's basically the explanation of the little section at the top. Moving into your revenues. If you were to collect at 100% all of the non-ad valorem taxes, it would be $286,764. Now, that may not necessarily always be the case because not everyone either pays on time. Some people, if they pay early, they get a discount. So what I have done here is I've done an adjustment of 5% reduction, just so that we make sure that we remain within budget. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. If you notice, there's also an amount for transponders. There's also the same $1,000 on the expense side because it should be a wash. And then what we are projecting to carry forward from the current year. So if you notice under your year-end projection and you go to the expense portion, there's a zero amount for contingency reserve because that is what you are supposed to remain in a 10%, up to 10% in contingency reserve. If you do not utilize that, it carries over into the next year. So part of that 31,000 is what you would have had in contingency reserve that you didn't spend, and maybe some other line items within your budget that I'm projecting may come in lower. Some others may come in a little bit higher, but we won't know until we close out the year, which would be after the budget process, which would be in November, December. So, any questions so far in regards to your revenue portion of your budget?
Yeah, where is that contingency reserved again on the sheet?
So if you look at your year-end column, it's right next to the yellow column, and you go all the way down. It's one of the last line items.
It's on the bottom.
Yes, so you see that for your year end, it's at zero. So nothing will ever be charged to that account unless you as a board decide that you want to move funds from your reserve into a line item to be able to spend it. Or if God forbid something unforeseen happens, I'll give you an example. In some other districts, they have decided to give an increase to the security guard. That increases their budget. Where does that money come from? It would come from your contingency reserve. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, any other questions as I move on into our expense portion? Okay, so as part of managing your district, there is a direct and indirect cost. Now, the direct cost is a portion of JP's salary. There's a breakdown on how we calculated that. And then aside from that, it's an administrative overhead, which is a 4.5% that was decided by the council last fiscal year. And that would include procurement, having to go out to bid for your guard services, legal, having to do anything regarding your district, myself, finance, processing the bills, etc. Then you have your security guard costs, which is $196,513. And then the rest of your budget is operating. It is the including of the cleaning of the guardhouses, the janitorial services, telephone, freight and postage went up from 65 cents to 68 cents. So that's just a calculation of 68 cents per unit times 5 meetings. Electricity, water, property damage insurance, handyman coming to, fix anything that may be needed to be fixed in the guardhouse, pressure cleaning, the guardhouse, just regular maintenance, flower change out to make sure that the appearance is okay. Legal notices to advertise when you all meet as a board to the community. As I mentioned, the 1,000 is a wash because it's also reflected in your revenue. It's the same amount, so it washes out. And then you have an annual maintenance fee for LPR cameras. Now, after putting the entire budget together and making sure that you're up to 10% in reserves, what is in addition is an additional $4,898. I placed that amount in your capital outlay line item. I know that you mentioned something about an awning and maybe putting an awning. I don't know what the cost of that is, but you do have the right as a board to decide that of that 4,898, you can reduce the assessment rate probably by about $6 to each community, each person within the community. But that would be a decision you can make as a board to reduce the assessment rate from $340 by $6. And then the 27,720 is the 10% that you should have in your reserves. Any questions so far?
Yes, on the repair of the LPR, is that line item?
It's not a repair, it's the software license that is paid annually to be able to maintain the LPR within your community.
Okay, which line item is that?
It is,
There's two ones that says repair and maintenance.
so it says computer software licenses. It is the last line item on the operating cost, portion of your budget. Do you see it?
Yeah, it's at the bottom,
Mhm.
or close to the bottom, so
Yeah.
that regards to the LPR.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. And the repair and maintenance, which is two up, I wanna say, let's say two kinds up, which one is that for? It's about 5,129 or 5,000?
5,000, so it's for handyman services,
Mhm.
electrical services, and plumbing, even, pressure washing, anything in relation to upkeeping the guardhouse.
So that's repair and maintenance for the guardhouse.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as opposed to the LPR.
No, the only maintenance that you have for the LPR is the annual maintenance of maintaining the software for it,
Okay.
the
so that-
license.
Yeah, so that's repair of the guard structure itself.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
the one below is the repair and maintenance. Two lines below is repair and maintenance for the ground itself.
Yes,
Okay.
so for the flowers, if your grass dies, putting new sod, things like that.
Yeah, can you add on a line on there for the repair and maintenance, just to specify that it's for the guardhouse? Or, it's just descriptive.
I can see if I can put that in parentheses for you.
Yeah, and then that way, that would be my only request, because that makes sense, to be repair and maintenance, the last
Oh,
grounds, and then repair and.
And you also have another repair, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. You also have another repair and maintenance line item that is for the gate arms. If people hit it and run into it, there's another line item specifically just to repair the gate arms.
Where does that say in there?
It is right under the one that says grounds. It says,
flower.
yeah, it says gate equipment and repairs.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Equipment repairs, okay, so it's the same thing, but the
Mhm.
wording's a little bit different, but okay, gotcha. So you basically have like three subsections for repair and maintenance for three different items: guardhouse, the gate arms, and the grounds. Okay.
And just to interject here, on the gate arms, whenever there is a incident where someone ran into the gate arm, I do go ahead and send out a letter to that individual once I get the invoice, trying to get paid back. Either through them directly, if not, then we'll try to go through their insurance.
And that, and not in this case, and what you see before you, but in other districts, we have received money from the insurance, and if you notice, under your revenue line items, there's one that's called property damage settlement. So if there is anything, it would go into that line item, and it would also then be in your budget.
So we haven't had any this year.
Last year you didn't collect any, and so far this year you have not either. You've only collected interest, so.
We've also been very lucky this year, so not too many,
Catastrophe.
I don't know if JP wants to maybe take this over before I move on. Is there any other questions that any of you may have, or any doubt, or anything that I can hopefully answer or take away any?
Real quick, I know you mentioned the first reading for this is today.
No. So every fiscal year in March and April, it usually happens. This year it's been pushed back to May and June. I have to close out the year from the prior year. So anything that is in excess or anything that is less, I have to make the adjustment into this year of whatever was carried forward. So that adjustment is just that. That's holistically of the whole budget. But as far as what you approved tonight, the main thing, I guess, that would be important is the assessment rate, because I have to submit to Miami-Dade County by a certain time, what your assessment rate is, because it goes on your trim bill. And then it will go on your actual tax bill. So I have deadlines I need to meet to be able to provide that to them, so they can provide that to the community.
And real quick, I just want to get your name, because you were speaking too fast, I couldn't.
I'm so sorry. My name is Melissa Hernandez. I'm the budget officer for this. No problem.
Okay. You have any questions on the budget? Susan?
Do I have any questions? No, yeah, I do, in a way. Projected where you have the budget carry forward, the 31,000, whatever. That is,
So if you notice under your year-end projection, all the way at the bottom, you have 31,492. So that 31,492, I'm carrying it over into the next year, which is where you see your budget carry forward. That amount will not stay at that amount. I will be amending that at some point once you complete this year, but you haven't completed this year and I'm in the budget process already. That will get amended later, which is exactly what's happening in the June column here that you see. Because when I did this budget, you hadn't completed the year. I don't know what your final numbers are. I don't know.
exactly.
So I can only do a projection. So I'd say my projection wasn't too far off, only 1,534. But there are other instances where it's been much more. And other instances where it's been less. I think one of them I have like $300 that I'm carrying over. So.
Julie?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you. That was very clear.
It's
Thank you.
very straightforward. It's very similar to last year's budget.
Also, I want to mention that none of these funds are commingled with any other districts. All of your funds are only within your account code of 1601. So there is nothing that is commingled with general fund dollars. There's nothing that is commingled with any other NSD district. Just want to make that very clear.
Okay. So, would you like to make a motion to accept the budget as is? Yes,
But before you do that,
yes,
so, this is where I was gonna say, I don't know if JP wants to take this over. I know that the current, vendor that you work with right now for your security guard services has requested perhaps an increase.
that's correct.
Yes, so they I can't even speak, forget me. They have requested an increase. And if you were to vote for that increase, it would be about
How many guards is it? How many guards? is it?
The guards work, 12-hour shifts,
There's three.
so it's about 3.
it would be
I would
a,
say 4 then, because you have 7 days before, or is it 3?
Well, per day.
7.
The total amount of guards, I'd have to go back and look, but,
You're
know,
looking more at shifts than you
uh,
are at people.
correct, yeah, I'm looking at shifts. People, it varies, you know,
Understand. So-
weekends, they may have different, lineup than.
You're looking at 12-hour shifts a day and then plus then the extra pay for the home.
Correct.
so if you were, so right now, what you pay them hourly is $22.10. They're requesting to go to $23.43.
23,
23, that is
23, 42?
43. Now, if you were to approve that, it would be a $14,394 increase to your budget.
Okay. 23, 42.
I, in doing that, without increasing your assessment rate, since you are required to go no more than 10% in your contingency reserve, you could reduce your reserve to about 6% to then be able to afford to pay for this increase to the security guard vendor. That is a choice that is completely up to you. If you are fine and want to leave your budget as is, you are welcome to do that as well. I'm just here to provide the information.
So lowering the assessment would leave the 340?
You, without having to touch the assessment, what you would touch would be the contingency reserve. So your reserve is at 10% right now.
Right.
If you were to afford this increase to the vendor, your contingency reserve would reduce to about 6%.
And what is the
And I do
required?
not recommend going anything below 5.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there a required
There isn't a required,
reserve?
the requirement is not to be anything above 10%.
Okay,
So 10% is the max.
okay, but they don't have a minimum,
It doesn't have a minimum, but
but,
I'm giving you my budgetary recommendation. I don't recommend that you go under 5 because, you know, you always
Yeah.
wanna have
Have-
something for a rainy day, as they say.
okay, can I ask you, how would this affect the holiday hourly rate? Will it?
So it would, because now they get paid time and a half, so their hourly rate would go to, for the holiday, would go to $44.87.
Is that included in the total budget of the 14?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I kind of did that on the side, you know, just so that I'm able to.
Yeah, that's what I.
So that would
figured.
comprise,
Yeah, and then that also affects your indirect cost, because that's based on a percentage. So that would go up a little bit, but when you factor everything in, the increase, when you factor all of that in, what you would be reducing your contingency reserve is about 6%.
That's something.
oh,
Yeah, the question, I think Ray and I have the same thing. So what's the reason for the request for the increase?
That I will hand over to Mr. John Paul.
They're requesting an increase per their contract. They are allowed to request an increase. The minimum rate is going up this year.
Minimum rate for what?
Minimum wage rate. I'd have to look exactly.
So what is the minimum?
I don't believe though I don't believe you are.
You are not required to
give them the increase.
give them an increase.
But
What's their last
we're just giving you the information.
Right. but that, the normal hours and the holiday hours are included in the 14,000?
In the amount that I'm, yes,
Okay,
And then
I'm
I
actually gonna
have-
double check because you made me
Okay.
question it now.
Yeah.
But yes, it is.
And I was asking them, do you know when their last instance was?
That I don't know. This is what I don't.
That's what I asked him, just now over, I was just wondering when their last increase was. This is something that they asked for in the last year's budget and.
no, I don't know. I think this is a new year we've had them, we haven't had them that long. This new-
This is, second or third year with them?
I don't
We switched
know.
over,
Is it-
right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
So if they haven't asked for an increase.
No,
yeah,
now, well, there's two sides of the coin. The one, I really don't raise the rates for the residences. At the same time, we're human beings and, you know, times are tough. So if we can handle it by dropping to the 6%, I mean, that's,
Yeah, John, what's the?
Oh, so
reason there?
I'm so sorry. Aside from dropping it to 6%, I would also be removing the 4,889 in the capital outlay line item.
Would that affect us next year?
It could possibly.
If it was a less than,
It could
Be
possibly
carried
in the
over.
sense that if you wanted to go back to the 10%, you would probably have to raise your assessment rate to get to the
Right.
10%
for next year.
for next year.
right. Well, we get the people that drink this year and.
That's a really great question. So
So what was the reasoning for the increase, John? Besides, payroll, inflation?
Yeah, I think everyone's asking for raises.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I get
that's,
it. Mhm.
but again, you have a contract with them already.
Mhm.
That is what you're obligated to.
That's
So-
the previous contract.
The contract that you currently.
This is what they want. Are we
This is
allowed
them requesting, they can request, and it is up to you as a board whether you want to.
are we allowed to submit a counter offer? Hey, we'll meet you in the middle. Because it's a dollar straight increase, right? Are we allowed to do that?
I'll go ahead and read, and then I will go ahead and, send you over the, document that was provided. Here, Mr. Peterman, allow me to begin by thanking you for your continued business. As you may know, the state of Florida's mandated minimum wage will increase again on September 30th, 2024, from $12 per hour to $13 per hour. This wage increases causes payroll
it
burden
does,
Okay, so this is a
And-
statutory.
Yeah.
and causes an unintended wage inflation to occur.
Okay, okay.
So,
that makes it much clearer
Yeah.
as opposed to just some random number,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, okay, I think I'll go with raise, lowering our 10%, 6%, that way it doesn't keep that assessment. Yeah, I thought it was.
Keep in
already-
mind that it may in the following year,
Right,
so,
yeah. But for this.
but you'll cross that bridge when you get there. Yeah.
So you're saying that the 4898, the one that we have here,
I would remove that.
we could use that.
I'm removing it in
Okay.
the proposal that I have with this increase, I'm removing it so that to accommodate that you stay at least above 5%, which it would be at about a 6%.
I would agree to that.
Yeah.
I thought that's fair.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you ready? All right, I'd like to make a motion to accept this budget with the increase to the guards and the decrease of the percentage, it's literally percentage that works out to approximately 6%. And the elimination of the capital outlay machinery and equipment of 40.
4,898.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, if you do not mind, I'm going to excuse myself. I hope the rest of your meeting goes that smoothly.
I think the budget meeting.
No, okay, we got one more.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you, Melissa.
thank you.
Thank
Melissa.
you.
All right, new business B, legal option of deputy attorney on guard making requests to visitors.
That's a tough one.
Yes, so as you know, I sent you over an email letting you know, making you aware of the town deputy attorney's legal opinion that we can request IDs or where someone is going. It is up to them if they want to provide that information. They are not obligated to provide it. And we to let them in regardless.
Right.
First off, I want to apologize for how I wrote the email. I could have worded it a lot better. It is up to you all to decide if you want to move forward with it. So you would have to vote to decide if you'd like to proceed with it. We do have as I mentioned, the town deputy attorney, legal opinion, Major Gonzalez, believes it's a good idea, as it would be an additional deterrent for safety reasons.
Does she live in that area?
He does not. And you could speak more on, this is Detective Nieves, she could speak more on the opinion of PD. What I will say is, you do have 2 residential lanes. So if everyone uses the residential lanes as intended, that would free up the visitor lane to be used specifically for visitors. And those are the only people that are going to be asked this question at the visitor lane. Additionally, we've already been doing this at Loch Lomond
Mhm.
for the last month or so. And it has been working effectively there. There haven't been any additional backup in traffic because of it. We haven't seen any issues with traffic. We have implemented, working with SFM, some parameters for their location. But in their location, for example, the residents, and this is before we even started asking questions, the residents there have stickers on their cars through the HOA. And so since they have those stickers, we decided to put that into their post orders. And so anybody that comes in to Loch Lomond with the sticker is automatically granted access, no questions asked, no picture taken of their tag either. They go straight in, because those are our known residents. So they have that, and then they have obviously the roving vehicle in Loch Lomond, which you guys do not. So my suggestion to you, if you were to proceed to that, would be that, we would we wouldn't go implement this right away. We would make sure that we cover our bases, informing the the residents first and foremost. Through and it's our mail out that we would be sending out. We can, potentially open up for people to come back and pick up their, clickers, their smart passes if they want. That's an option as well. We do have, by my last count, I believe it was 422. So we have, clickers available for pickup. And yeah, what we've done with, SFN as well, that's in Loch Lomond and would be implemented if we were to do it here, is they have their system now allows, them to, like, if somebody goes in as normal, as intended, they would just take the picture of the tag. If they deny, then at that point, they just press a button and it simply sends an email to myself.
Mhm.
If they still take a picture of the tag, it sends a report, a report or whatever, just saying that they did not want their tag to be
ID.
taken.
Oh,
Taking a picture of the tag, which they still will do, and then it sends an email to myself, to SFM management, and as well to some members of PD would be receiving it as well. So it would just send an email to them. It's up to PD if they want to. It's just a form of added security to notify PD and let them know if they want to proceed.
so currently they do take a picture of the back of the license.
Correct.
So what people could negate is the ID. Is that what it?
Correct. And just an FYI, this isn't a new security measure taken in special taxing districts or neighborhood service. It is not.
It is not.
It is not a new security measure taking place in special taxing districts or neighborhood service districts, what we call them. In other neighborhood service districts, Cocoa Plum, for example, Star Island, for example, Gables by the Sea, they ask for ID. But again, those are public roads, and so they do have to let them in. But they do the same security measure that we would be implementing into your community.
And when they show their IDs, what does the guard do?
They just show the ID. The guard can take a look at it, match your face to it, match your age maybe by the date. They're just looking. They're not taking any additional information on the identification. They're not taking any additional info. They're just taking a look and asking questions. If they see something suspicious, if they look at your ID and your face doesn't match, the ID, or it looks like a fake, that would be something suspicious. And again, they're just right now, whenever the guards see anything suspicious, they're asked to contact non-emergency PD. Contacting non-emergency PD could take hours.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say, it's taken, and I've done it myself, it's
Yeah.
been 35 minutes, 45 minutes to get someone on the phone. In this way, by sending the
No.
the report
Yeah.
by email, it notifies PD at a quicker response. That doesn't mean that they're going to take action. It's up to them to decide, and you can speak more about it if you don't mind. But it just allows our security guards to do what they're meant to do, which is
Okay.
deter.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where did this initiative come from? If someone must have come up with it.
This initiative was started
Mhm.
by Loch Lomond.
Okay.
And approved, and again, there was a legal opinion by the town deputy manager, and then we went ahead and started implementing that.
Okay.
I am back.
You're back?
I need to clarify something on the record.
Okay.
When I went upstairs on the paper, the time and a half says 44, it's really 35.15.
Oh, thanks.
So the amount that
I was
we,
gonna say, I wanted that.
That was like out of proportion there.
yes, I noticed that when I went upstairs, I don't know why I have it on the printout. But it's $35.15, and what will be in contingency reserve will be 7%, not 6.
Oh, good.
So
All right.
I needed to clarify that for the
All
record.
right. Good. Good.
And then what I will do is tomorrow I will send JP the revised budget with the changes that you voted on, so that he can send it to you all. You can have a look through it again. And if you have any questions through the liaison, you can ask me anything. Okay?
Good.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. That's good. Helpful.
I think, given this new information, we should pause this conversation, go back to the budget and re-vote on it, since it is first.
It's just a clarification. no?
Just
Yeah.
clarification.
No,
Yeah.
just a clarification.
Yeah.
no need to
Yeah,
vote.
we're good.
She just said that the numbers wrong.
So we didn't specifically say the numbers, we just said the increase.
Yeah, so, yeah, the numbers were wrong, like, we just need a clarification.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, is there any questions? I'm sorry, where were we discussing?
Yeah, we're gonna open this up for discussion for this, because I do have some insight into this, and then I'll say my piece, but Mr. President, go ahead.
Do tell, please.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, my opinion, and this is a professional opinion, even though I'm a board member, because for the other board members don't know, I'm a police major with the Miami-Dade Police Department. Not only that, I used to patrol Loch Lomond 25 years ago. Not only that, but I patrolled, was it, the area we live in, like Lake Lanella.
Mhm.
I patrol all them because we should be an off-duty assignment, right? The reason I bought back then without the guard gate was because nothing happened in Miami Lakes at nighttime. Except, very little crime, it's all property crime. When you put this gate that we have now to cut the traffic, it actually decreased crime even more. So Loch Lomond, there used to be an off-duty there, I used to patrol it, it's very small. It's very small.
Yeah.
You can go in there, we have the guard gate person, and then, this will work in Loch Lomond because of the traffic. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Our gate it's a lot of people. I think the average on the last meeting was what, 44,000, that goes through there. So if you stop them, right, if you stop one person going there, through the visitor lane, you're gonna see a backup.
Kind of bottleneck that
It's
whole,
gonna
that whole
bottleneck the
area.
whole thing.
Mhm.
For Loch Lomond, this is very good, because it's one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can count, I don't know how many houses there, but it's not that much. For us, because, just the traffic part. Because just imagine the same procedure over there by, the other guard gate on 82nd Avenue, on the left and the right. It is, I forgot the name of that complex. I'm not drawing this line. The other NSD gate over there by 82nd Avenue,
The one that.
Royal Oaks.
Royal Oaks.
yes, Royal Oak East
Just
and
by-
West.
Just by.
Just imagine.
Pharmacy Park.
That is
Yeah.
stopping to check the visitor,
Yeah.
82nd Avenue would be. It will be a parking lot. Now my 2 cents regarding the security, because that would be great. But besides the guards taking a picture already, people forget there's a secondary picture on the LPR. It captures all that. And it only alerts to stolen vehicles and vehicles that are wanted, or silver alert, or amber alert. Does that make sense? It's not public,
Yeah.
but you'll alert it. So we actually have the guard taking a picture, and as you go through, there's another picture
Yeah.
on all those gates. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My opinion, I never brought it up to the board, but you don't really need the guard to take a picture anymore, because there's always a picture taken.
Mhm.
It's the LPR.
Mhm.
Really,
And how does this affect it won't affect, we got a point, because they've all got their own entrance with the master access entrance. We don't have a private security there. How is this going to affect the Anchorage? So you've come through once and you've waited in that line to
Correct.
get in, and now you've got to go to the Anchorage where they do have a
private,
person there.
Mhm.
And so now they've got to be asked again how to get in. I just think that's a lot.
But again, you have 2 residential lanes where
Yeah, but that street
the
doesn't
use of
really
the
allow.
residential lanes would not be affected. So if the residents enter through the residential lanes as intended,
But I'm saying
Two of them.
they're gonna
the
be
only people that are gonna be,
questioned twice.
the only people that are gonna be questioned, again, and again, they are not obligated to provide anything.
Yeah.
It's their decision. But it's not meant to slow down traffic to the point of it becoming a conversation or anything like that. It's simply, can I see your ID? No? Okay. Go back and take the picture as they already do. So,
Let me ask you something. Lake Lowman is the one with the long, the residence is only in the long street, correct?
mhm.
So if it does back up, they have their own street, it doesn't affect anybody else. Came home today, I know this was up for the discussion, and I already gave you my feedback on it, but. You know, I looked and there was. 1, 2, 3 cars coming in from the park. 2 cars coming in, and I was going, and I had to go in between the cars because the people just, they kind of don't stop. And that is with taking a picture, and that's like boom, boom, rock and roll, right? Now, if we stop for an ID, how much longer are they gonna be sitting there? How much longer is that line gonna increase both ways?
Because they're gonna have to go into their purse to get the ID, you
Yeah, I
understand?
I-
And then it takes
I
a
know,
little bit.
the idea of making them, force them to go to the other side, I mean, if we can think out of the box of, I don't know, having an open house thing to give them the little tags, or go to their houses 5 a week. Visit them and say, hi, we're here, whatever, but I just feel, in my gut, that we're creating a monster.
I agree. I agree with
I
you.
would like to say my opinion of it. A lot of the residents, rather than get a new card, are going through the visitor lane. When they are asked for their ID and all that, there's gonna be confrontation. And then they're gonna say, well, and the guard can say, well, you should have a card. And then they'll say, well, I don't have a card. Where do I get a card? There's gonna be this whole
And
conversation,
is this gonna be in English or
And-
Spanish?
whatever
And-
language, and the cars are gonna be backed up because they're gonna get average. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are going through the visitors because they don't want to bother to get the card. Because that's how I feel. I feel a lot of people just are lazy about getting their card and they just go through the visitors. So when they're confronted, they're not gonna be nice.
And before we had the picture, they were writing things down, and it was taking longer.
Yes.
And we were getting complaints
That's
that
right.
it was getting backed up.
Yeah, and there's gonna be this whole discussion between the guard and the resident about why are you asking me for, even though you're gonna send the mail out. half
And
of
it won't
them-
just be a mail out. I mean, there's other
It's
things
up to
that
the
we can do.
board.
We would-
Yeah, it's up
we
to the
wouldn't,
board.
we wouldn't proceed. First off, we wouldn't proceed without you approving it.
Yeah.
But second of all, if it was approved, we would make sure that it is ready to go fully go ahead, implement any such thing. So we would obviously reach out, make people aware, have, but, different ways to
So,
I know you've said that the opinion of the director.
the deputy.
Attorney.
Deputy, is that we can do it,
You
but
can
I've
do it.
heard from several people that we can't do that. That's not,
so I'll throw my 2 cents onto this, because when you stop someone and then the detective will tell you, we would call these encounters, these are police related, and it's gone through Supreme Court, when you stop someone, you have reasonable suspicion. Why are you stopping them? Can you stop them to say hi? And this is from sworn perspective, right? You need to have a good reason. Once you create that contact between the security guard and this person, it's the reason for the stop. Does that make sense?
Do they have that kind of authority to ask you for your ID?
It's a guard gate.
So-
Ultimately, it is a guard gate. Everyone that stops at a guard gate is supposed to stop.
So-
Again, they're only asking questions. They're
Right.
not by any means
Yeah.
obligated.
To answer your question, by the way, the authority that allows them to stop would be the board. Your
Are
voting.
they trained to look at an ID to determine whether or not that is my face or not, or it
Yeah.
is a fake? Are they trained?
SFM provides
They do.
training on,
So that's additional to our budget.
no, there is no addition to the budget if you implement this procedure.
Did you also say in the email that in addition to asking for their ID, they'd be asking, where are you going?
They can, ask where they could ask,
Oh, boy.
where are you going?
Yeah.
No, I think, the board member wants to say something.
No, I was just, gonna comment that if someone is in front and someone's in back, and the person in front refuses to give their driver's license or an ID, the person in back is gonna move up and they're gonna ask for an ID, and they're gonna say, well, that guy didn't give you an ID, why are you asking me for an ID? I mean, there's all kinds of incidents that can happen, and I think they will happen.
Well,
And it's
I
gonna
agree with
be,
you.
right, it's
I agree.
gonna be turmoil between the guards and the residents or the visitors. I just see that as being an issue.
What's the need for this? So it was recommended, like, has something happened in our area that we need to be more informed in this? I don't. No,
Specifically
Yeah.
is added security.
just added, but
Added,
it's,
added, it's an additional deterrent, which ultimately the guardhouses and the guards are there as part, the reason the ordinance was created in general was to add a security deterrent to mining section 1. So that is what this is,
Yeah.
just in addition to.
Yeah, the question I think she's asking was it one of the board members that brought this up, or did someone from Loch Lomond push it?
no, my question was just more in general. like,
Right.
have things been happening
Oh,
in that area
yeah.
behind that gate that we're thinking
No.
in order to deter
Are you asking
more?
specifically about mining section 1? No.
Okay,
In general, this is a deterrent
I understand that.
for security guard, a security guard gate in general.
Okay.
Again, you're not obligated to have this in your location. It is happening in one other location. There was no push from, I think Becky was mentioning that somebody from Loch Lomond may have pushed this.
No.
That is not the
I got
case.
you, I got you.
Yeah, that is something that
Yeah.
could, we could, if required, and if it arises that we need to in the future, maybe revisit, but I personally, I'm hearing, you guys seem not to be,
If you live there, the
On board.
traffic is,
it is bad.
it is bad.
I think based on the fact that we have so many people in our area, probably more than most of the guard gates. It requires really some thought. And does this have to be decided tonight?
Not at all.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Good.
Yeah, I'd motion to table this because we can, another time because it's not necessary. My opinion, crime wise, traffic wise, it's just. Even with what we have now just with the pictures alone, on a Friday, I don't know, 4 or 5 p.m., it just stacks back. Every day, as a matter of fact, it's not even that. It's not even the interaction will just create even longer backup. And this is without the construction we have now, because,
Oh, yeah.
and I, for Joe Gonzalez, my good friend, the major there, he doesn't live there. I live there, right next to Rennie, and I see it. And I, like I said, I do have expertise regarding traffic control. For the board purposes, I am a traffic officer, DUI, BTO, and do commercial vehicle traffic, radar laser, and do special events. And I can, look at a place and set up the cones, called a special events training, right? I have all that training. It's not feasible for us. It is feasible for Loch Lomond, though. I work
Yeah.
Loch Lomond as a security guard.
It's a
55
small,
years ago. It's a smaller place, very quiet, and then,
It's set up perfectly for that.
yeah,
set up perfectly for that, that's right. We didn't have so many people in that intersection,
The longer,
that's correct.
the longer stretch in, like.
and if
other
the gate
communities.
goes bad, oh my God, then
But we're in a corner, we're 2 corners.
Right, but in the event that, like you were mentioning, that if the gate arm goes bad, post orders can be adjusted just as they are
yeah,
whenever the gate arm is
Yeah.
down.
in other words, they would suspend. it.
Right, that would not be a reason for,
Well, that's an idea.
I-
If there wasn't such a tie-up, they could do it, and if they see things are getting out of hand, they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of not the way to do it, but
We need to be.
Yeah, I would,
yeah, we need.
Yeah, if
orders.
if you're gonna go this route,
Yeah.
Mhm.
then you should go all in. If you're not gonna do it, then just don't do it.
yeah, I would motion to not go forward with this.
Do we have a second on
I
that?
would
motion?
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so it does not pass, so we don't want to.
And we could take this up again at a future date
Yes, you can. And
if we change it.
right, if
Okay.
it gets worse or
If it-
whatever.
Something that comes up that we find. oh,
Right,
this is-
but it's
Exactly.
ultimately, the legal opinion is there. It
Right.
is up to you guys at any point if you want to decide if,
Quick question, is it the deputy general counsel for the town?
Yeah.
Is he a criminal lawyer per se, or just a general attorney, you know?
I'd be lying to you if I told you.
Yeah, because like I said, when you do stops, and the detective will tell you, let's go straight to the Supreme Court, just sworn officer asking for someone's identification creates, it's a huge thing.
Ultimately, there are multiple legal opinions
Mhm.
on this that have been provided over time. You know, like I said before, this is not something new. This is not
Okay.
something that Miami Lakes
Right.
or
invented.
in any of the NSDs in Miami Lakes would be creating for the first time. Cocoa Plum already does it.
Ah, okay.
Star Island does it, and Gables by the Sea does it. And I'm just giving you the big ones because those are the ones I know
Yeah,
that they ask for ID. And they also have a sign, Cocoa Plum has a sign in front of the guardhouse. You are not obligated to provide ID. So, it will be requested, but you are not obligated. So just to give you an idea, this is not a new thing. And, there's nothing legally against asking. They have to, at the end of the day, it is a public road. Because everyone has to be allowed entry into the, community. So that would not change just because of this rule or not, or not.
Anything else? Good. All right, the motion to adjourn the meeting,
I second.
all in favor? Oh,
I just want to know, do you have any idea when the next meeting will be?
Yes,
Just so I can have it on my radar.
it was originally going to be July 8th.
Mhm.
However, there is a council meeting that will be taking place at that time. I don't have all the details on that, so I was requested to push it back
Okay,
to July 10th
July 10th,
at 6 p.m.
okay,
I haven't sent out the email because this has just happened.
okay, that's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
At
All right.
6.
Just to be aware.
July 10th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
And I will, of course, always send out an email
Thank you.
ahead of time letting you.
Yeah.
All in favor, dismiss?
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Hey,
Hey.
1 hour, 1 hour budget meeting.